The stuff of nightmares, reduced to being in a review. I'm getting old. Rob Shearman, the writer of the episode, had his first encounter with the revived series of Doctor Who in 2003 after writing the Sixth Doctor audio, Jubilee. Russell T Davies drew heavily on Jubilee to create the then titled Return of the Daleks, hoping to recreate the menace shown by the Daleks in their 1963 debut, The Daleks. The episode changed from Jubilee's alternate Earth setting to 2012 Utah, then the near future, with the lone Dalek being held captive by businessman Henry Van Statten, written as a caricature of Microsoft's chairman Bill Gates. The script initially went through several changes and was originally going to be called Creature of Lies, and Van Statten was originally going to be called Hiram Dushanis, and Adam was originally going to be his son, but this was soon changed. One of the most notable changes to the script was when the Nation Estate, the holders of the rights for the Daleks, blocked the use of the Daleks due to the BBC licensing them out too much. When this happened, the changed story involved an alien akin to a child that kills for pleasure, which eventually evolved into the Toclophane from The Sound of Drums and Last of the Time Lords. But finally, the BBC was able to secure the rights from the Nation Estate, and at the same time, the episode was given its final name, Dalek. Filming took place in October 2004 at the National Museum in Cardiff, before moving to the Millennium Stadium, where most of the episode was filmed, and was deliberately placed in the middle of the series to stave off an anticipated mid-series drop in viewership, despite the BBC suggesting that this be the episode premiere for the new series. The episode proved to be so popular that the BBC commissioned a game titled The Last Dalek, released in 2005. It's loosely based on the episode, but with a remarkably different ending. Spoilers, you kill the Doctor and destroy the TARDIS, as the Dalek, effectively winning the Time War. The Doctor and Rose are drawn by a distress signal to a massive bunker beneath Utah in 2012, filled with alien artifacts collected by the bunker's owner, Henry Van Statten. The Doctor is taken to see Van Statten's only living specimen, which turns out to be the last Dalek in the universe, having fought to be wiped out in the Time War by the Doctor. Rose, however, takes pity on the creature and touches the casing. Absorbing her DNA and time energy, the Dalek is able to re-energize itself and connects to the internet, where it learns the fate of the Daleks, that they're all extinct, and realizes that as the only survivor, it should proceed with its purpose to exterminate all non-Dalek life forms. This episode intended to bring back the Daleks for a new generation, and did they succeed? Hell yeah, they did. Despite it being a lone Dalek, it's shown to be an absolute force to be reckoned with here. The redesign is a great update for the 21st century. They kept the recognisable design traits of the Daleks, such as the eye stalk, the ears, the plunger, the gun, the spheres on its skirt, etc. But given a gold and bronze design, it looks amazing, and there's a good reason this has stayed consistent throughout the new series. Well, almost. The voice of the Daleks, done by Nick Briggs, is equally exceptional. His performance goes through so much variety. There's fear behind the voice, pity, confusion and cunning, and like the design, there's a good reason why he's remained as the voice of the Daleks for the new series. This episode is also a representation of what makes the Daleks so amazing. It screams with rage when it sees the Doctor, it kills anything that gets in its way, but it also shows cunning and patience as well. For example, when it's at the stairs, Adam taunts it by being defeated at a flight of stairs despite being a death machine, and DiMaggio the guard thinks she's able to negotiate with it. The Dalek doesn't scream with rage, it simply stares up at them and simply utters, "Elevate," and is still able to conquer the stairs, still maintaining its silence. While I do enjoy this moment, it is often mistaken for showing Daleks flying for the first time. And no, I'm sorry, it wasn't that. That was Remembrance of the Daleks. But don't get me wrong, both moments are equally as brilliant here. Its cunning is also used when it shoots the fire alarm, setting off the sprinklers and killing the army of guards by shooting at the water. It's a great example of why this is the most perfect killing machine ever devised. It even questions its purpose when it downloads the internet. By the way, how much porn now exists in that Dalek's head? That's a question I need answering. And finds no fellow Daleks, and to have no orders, it has nothing other than to fill its purpose of killing all non-Dalek life forms, and that is terrifying. Furthermore, this is the first time we get an in-depth look at what's really inside the Dalek. The mutant itself looks great, it's so slimy and creepy, and you really buy that this is a creature locked in a metal case for all eternity. And as a final moment of awesomeness, the Dalek is infected with Rose's DNA and emotions, and would rather kill itself than feel emotions such as fear and beauty, even calling it sickness. I could go on forever about how well the Daleks are done here, but quite honestly, we'd be here all day, so take my word for it, they are friggin' awesome in this episode. Like the Daleks, Christopher Eccleston is also on top form here, and gives quite possibly his best performance of the series. Don't get me wrong, he's consistently great throughout Series 1, but he's on such a roll of an episode in this, and it's because of the inclusion of the Daleks, I think. Even if you hadn't seen the Daleks before, you can tell that he has such a long history with them, but equally he is absolutely terrified of them due to the many encounters he's had previously, as well as being the cause of the death and destruction for his whole planet and species. He absolutely nails the Doctor's anger and rage here. It never feels forced or insecure. This is the angriest we've seen the Doctor so far this series, and it's fantastic. One of my favourite scenes is the opening where he sees a Cyberman head in Van Statten's museum. While the Ninth Doctor never encountered the Cybermen on screen, this is the closest we've got. It's an old enemy of the Doctor's reduced to being an exhibit in a museum. And I wonder if that was foreshadowing the ungodly amounts of merchandise that Doctor Who had under the RTD era. Though my Christopher Eccleston moment of the week has to be his confrontation with the Dalek over the screen. Both of them are in the same position here. They're the last of their kind and all alone in the universe. The Doctor screams at the Dalek to kill itself and make their race extinct, and the Dalek simply replies with,
"You would make a good Dalek."
After that, the Doctor says nothing. He doesn't acknowledge it at all. He simply orders the vault to be sealed and carries out his mission of trapping the Dalek. It's never brought up in dialogue again, but you can tell this has had an effect on him. Being compared to the thing he hates the most is just the worst thing that can happen to him. You can almost make the argument that the Dalek won here. Like the Daleks in this, I could go on forever about how amazing Eccleston is here, so just take my word for it. As for Rose Tyler, well, that's more or less the problems I have with her this episode, but what I do like about her is her compassion towards the Dalek. For me, that moment works because she's never seen one before and has no idea what it's capable of, so touching it I can buy, but couldn't they have warned her not to get too close or to touch it? Oh wait, they did. However, that moment works because it shows how cunning the Dalek is. It plays on the compassion and gullibility of humanity. They're not just mindless killers, there is a brain going on inside that metal case. But the weakest point of the episode comes at the end. The Dalek has absorbed Rose's DNA and feels contaminated, as well as Rose's fear and freedom he's starting to feel, so it shoots a hole in the ceiling and wants to feel the sunlight on its mutant skin. But by this moment, Rose has already seen what the Dalek is capable of. It's killed hundreds of people, manipulated the Doctor's feelings to let it through the bulkhead, further endangering more people's lives. But it's alright, Doctor, it wants to feel the sunlight. Nah, I'm sorry, but I don't buy it. You'd have to be plain stupid to see what this Dalek is capable of. Rose is definitely in the wrong here, but for some reason the episode portrays her as if she's the hero, so I'm not a fan of that moment. As for the supporting cast, they are pretty good here. The human villain, well, you could argue he is a villain, Henry Van Statten, played by Corey Johnson, is really good. He has such an arrogant persona that you love to hate him. He thinks he's genuinely doing something right by sticking all these alien artifacts in a museum, but unlike the Doctor, he doesn't want to travel and touch the stars, even though he says he does. He just wants to have them in his underground bunker. Could that be a reference to all the fans who have all that merchandise from Doctor Who in their basements? Plus, he's also kind of another dig at capitalism, scavenging anything that he can get his hands on and making a profit out of it. He also claims to have found the cure for the common cold, but not wanting to sell it to the public. Why sell one cure when he could make 1,000 palliatives? More profit for him. Though I will say, wiping his memory at the end, isn't that a bit reckless? Aren't people going to recognise him in the street? Ah well, minor nitpick. We also have Bruno Langley as Adam, who would become a companion for this episode and the next. In all honesty, I don't find much to his character. He's just a boy genius, and I really don't think he earned his place aboard the TARDIS by the end. They could have developed his character further on in the series, but sadly that didn't happen, and I'll go more in depth to his character in the long game review. From a production standpoint, this episode truly shines. Joe Ahern proves to be a great action director, as the gunfights are brilliantly done for a TV production. One of my favourite moments is the first corridor fight. The Dalek kills the soldiers one by one, not having to move, simply on the spot. We hear it in Van Statten's office over the comms, and as he addresses the comms, the firing stops and we cut to the dead bodies on the floor. That is so brilliant. It shows how quickly the Dalek is able to dispose of these and how they're no threat to it whatsoever. While it is more or less the same corridors that characters are running up and down of, the action scenes are so good that you completely forget about it all. The music by Murray Gold is also amazing, easily the best score of the series, I think, of Series 1. The choir used for when the Dalek is committing its massacre is brilliantly haunting. It adds such an atmosphere to the scene. Furthermore, I think it put to rest any jokes that were to be made about the Daleks, and it further helps them to re-establish them as a threat. I also really love the music for when the Dalek reveals itself. The music is almost soft and elegant, giving the Daleks an concept of beauty and elegance. It also has us feel what the Dalek is feeling in that scene. It feels beauty and emotions other than hate. The choir used in the episode represents the hate and racial cleansing that the Dalek stands for, while the piano music used represents the beauty that it begins to feel. And that is awesome stuff, and I just can't praise that enough. So, in conclusion, Dalek is a superbly acted, brilliantly directed, excellently scored episode that has beautiful scenes of death and destruction and brings Doctor Who's most iconic enemies back with an absolute bang. Eccleston is on top form as well as the music, and the action scenes are absolutely astounding. There's only one question left at the end of this, all faithful watchers. Why has writer Rob Sherman never been brought back to the series? Well everyone, that's all from me. Be sure to like, share and subscribe. Let me know in the comments below what you think of Dalek, and also let me know what is your favourite Dalek episode from the new series. Is it still Dalek, or have subsequent Dalek appearances now topped that? Let me know and I'll be sure to take a look, and I shall see you all next time. Goodbye.